Hello, and welcome to Celebrity Died News Channel. We're honored to have you with us today. In this video, we pause to remember the lives and legacies of 5 American celebrities we tragically lost this week. These are individuals who have left an undeniable mark on the world, shaping it through their music, acting, sports, or activism. Their contributions are immeasurable, and today, we pay tribute to their memory. Make sure to subscribe and stay tuned as we honor these remarkable individuals and celebrate the lasting influence they've had on our world.
Bob Edwards, longtime NPR anchor and Sirius XM host, dies at 76. Bob Edwards, the Peabody Award-winning journalist and member of the National Radio Hall of Fame, passed away on Saturday at the age of 76. He was best known for his decades as the anchor of NPR's Morning Edition, a role he held for nearly 25 years before transitioning to satellite radio. NPR confirmed his death, though they did not provide additional details. Edwards joined NPR in 1974 and quickly became a key figure in the network's programming. He first gained national attention as a co-host of All Things Considered, working alongside Susan Stamberg. In 1979, Edwards moved on to become the founding host of Morning Edition, where his distinctive warm baritone voice became synonymous with public radio. He remained with the program until 2004, conducting interviews and guiding listeners through the morning news with a unique sense of calm and authority. His first guest on Morning Edition was Charles Osgood, who passed away just last month. NPR CEO John Lansing praised Edwards' ability to connect with listeners on a deeply personal level. Bob Edwards understood the intimate and directly personal connection with audiences that distinguishes audio journalism from other mediums, Lansing said. For decades, he was a trusted voice in the lives of millions of public radio listeners. Though Edwards was removed from Morning Edition shortly before his 25th anniversary with the program, he chose not to stay on as a senior correspondent. Instead, he moved to Sirius Satellite Radio, where he hosted The Bob Edwards Show. This program allowed him to dive deeper into interviews with conversations often lasting up to an hour, far longer than the brief segments he had been accustomed to on NPR. He also hosted Bob Edwards Weekend, a compilation show featuring highlights from his interviews each week. Both programs ran for a decade, ending in 2014. In addition to his radio career, Edwards was an active leader within the broadcasting industry. He served as a member of the SAG-AFTRA National Board and was a former national president of the American Federation of Television and Radio Artists, AFTRA, before its merger with Screen Actors Guild. Edwards played a significant role in the 2012 union merger and was a founding member of the Group for One Union, which aimed to unify workers in the media and entertainment industries. SAG-AFTRA President Fran Drescher paid tribute to Edwards, describing him as the consummate newsman. She added, "When you heard Bob's voice on the radio, you knew you were going to learn something new, discover an interesting person, or simply be entertained. He brought the world to his listeners, and they loved him for it. Millions of us will miss his sonorous baritone and warm personality that resonated across the airwaves. Behind the scenes, Bob was just as impactful. As a union leader, he worked tirelessly to improve the lives of his fellow broadcasters for over 3 decades. Born on May 16, 1947, in Louisville, Kentucky, Edwards served in the Army during the Vietnam War, where he produced radio and TV segments for the Armed Forces Network in Seoul. He began his professional radio career in 1968 at a small station in New Albany, Indiana. By his mid-20s, he was anchoring national radio programs for the Mutual Broadcasting System. Over the years, his contributions to journalism earned him numerous accolades, including a Peabody Award in 1999 for his work on Morning Edition, and in 2004, he was inducted into the National Radio Hall of Fame. Edwards was also a published author, having written Friday with Red, A Radio Friendship, 1993, a book chronicling his long friendship and professional relationship with Hall of Fame baseball announcer Red Barber. He also authored Edward R. Murrow and the Birth of Broadcast Journalism, 2004, and his memoir, A Voice in the Box, My Life in Radio, 2011. Later in his career, Edwards hosted a podcast for AARP called Take On Today. Bob Edwards' remarkable career and lasting impact on the world of radio will continue to be remembered by those who knew him and by the millions of listeners whose lives he touched. Ian Lavender dies Dad's Army. Star who played Private Frank Pike, in iconic BBC sitcom was 77. Ian Lavender, the last surviving member of the beloved BBC sitcom Dad's Army, has passed away at the age of 77. Known for his portrayal of the lovable, often comically mistreated Private Frank Pike, Lavender's death marks the end of an era for the British television institution. The news of his passing was confirmed through a statement posted by the official Dad's Army radio show account, which expressed deep sadness at the loss of the actor. "We are deeply saddened to hear the passing of the wonderful Ian Lavender," the message read. In what truly marks the end of an era, Ian was the last surviving member of the Dad's Army main cast. His wonderful performance as Private Frank Pike will live on for decades to come. The statement also shared that the current Dad's Army tour would be dedicated to Lavender's memory, honoring his contributions to one of Britain's most cherished sitcoms. Lavender's death is a significant moment in television history, not just because of his role in Dad's Army, but also because of the enduring impact his work had on audiences. His performance as Private Frank Pike has remained a lasting part of British comedy, with his character's humorous yet endearing nature continuing to bring joy to new generations. Lavender's career extended beyond Dad's Army, with notable appearances in television series such as EastEnders, Parsley Sightings, Rising Damp, and the 2016 Dad's Army movie, ensuring that his legacy of laughter will be remembered for years to come. Born on February 16, 1946, in Birmingham, England, Lavender's love for the performing arts began at an early age. He was actively involved in school plays and made his first television appearance in a one-off drama in the late 1960s. It wasn't long before the BBC took notice of his talent, casting him at the young age of 22 in the role of Private Frank Pike in Dad's Army. Lavender's portrayal of the naive and awkward soldier, frequently on the receiving end of Captain Mainwaring's famous line, "You stupid boy," quickly became one of the defining elements of the show. Dad's Army first aired in 1968 and quickly became one of the most popular and enduring sitcoms on British television. The series, which ran for a decade and concluded in 1977, centered on a group of amateur soldiers in the British Home Guard during World War II. Lavender's character, Private Pike, was often the target of ridicule by his superior, Captain Mainwaring, played by Arthur Lowe, who was known for his exasperated and frequent rants of, "You stupid boy." Despite this, Pike was beloved by fans for his innocence, earnestness, and his ability to take Mainwaring's verbal abuse with good humor. The character became a central figure in the show, and Lavender's ability to bring both comedy and heart to Pike made him an unforgettable part of Dad's Army's success. Throughout the show's 9 series, Lavender starred alongside a stellar ensemble cast, including the likes of Arthur Lowe, John Le Mesurier, Clive Dunn, and John Laurie. The combination of strong writing, impeccable performances, and relatable characters made Dad's Army a cultural phenomenon in Britain, with many fans considering it one of the best sitcoms of all time. Lavender's work as Private Pike was instrumental in the show's success, and he became a household name in the UK, synonymous with the character he played so expertly. In addition to his role in the original television series, Ian Lavender reprised his iconic role as Private Pike in several Dad's Army spin-offs. In 1971, he appeared in the film adaptation of the show, Dad's Army, the movie, which allowed fans to see their favorite characters on the big screen. Lavender's involvement in these projects cemented his connection to the Dad's Army franchise, and he continued to be associated with the show even after it ended in 1977. He also made an appearance in the radio spin-off, It Sticks Out Half a Mile in the 1980s, which continued the Dad's Army legacy in a new format. Lavender's character appeared in the 2016 film Dad's Army, where he took on a cameo role as Brigadier Pritchard, marking one of his final major performances. His participation in the film allowed both old and new fans to appreciate his contribution to the series, and it was a fitting tribute to his iconic role as Private Pike. While Lavender's work in Dad's Army remains the defining moment of his career, it was far from the extent of his talent. After the show ended, he continued to work in a variety of roles across television, theater, and film. His stage credits were notable, including a performance in The Merchant of Venice opposite Dustin Hoffman, where he showcased his range as an actor beyond the world of comedy. Peter Gard, finance expert and key collaborator with Lars von Trier and Thomas Vinterberg. D's at 67, Peter Gard, the esteemed European film financing expert who played a crucial role in the success of Zentropa Studios and worked alongside prominent filmmakers like Lars von Trier and Thomas Vinterberg, has passed away following a prolonged battle with cancer. He was 67 years old. Gard's death was confirmed by his wife, Nana, as well as close colleagues Peter Albeck Jensen and Anders Kierhauge, who shared the news with Deadline. He passed away 3 weeks ago in Faxe, Denmark. Early life and career. Born and raised in the small Danish town of Storheddinge, Peter Garde initially pursued an education in finance, with plans to become a banker. However, his career path took an unexpected turn when he shifted from traditional banking to start his own financial exchange company. This entrepreneurial venture marked the beginning of a new chapter in his life, one that would intertwine with the world of cinema. Collaboration with Lars von Trier and Zentropa Studios. Gard's pivotal role in the European film industry began when he was drawn into the world of film financing after the success of Lars von Trier's Breaking the Waves. His close friend, producer Peter Albeck Jensen, persuaded him to join Zentropa Studios in 1997 to help manage the increasing flow of funds into the company following the success of Trier's films. At Zentropa, Gard became integral to the studio's growth and success, overseeing the complex financial arrangements necessary to fund many of the studio's groundbreaking and often challenging projects. His expertise in structuring financing deals helped bring to life many of the most ambitious and innovative films of the era, all of which would go on to shape European cinema. Gard's involvement in the financing of auteur-driven films was crucial in turning Zentropa into a hub for daring, boundary-pushing cinema. Under his guidance, the studio produced a series of films that became international landmarks of contemporary European filmmaking, including Dancer in the Dark, Dogville, Melancholia, Brothers, After the Wedding, A Royal Affair, The Hunt, The Salvation, and Els. Throughout his career, Gard worked on more than 70 films, handling everything from financial structuring to packaging and securing the financing necessary to get these visionary films made. His meticulous attention to detail and innovative approach to film financing made him one of the most respected figures in the industry. Gard's expertise and influence extended beyond the walls of Zentropa Studios. He was a familiar face at major international film markets, including the European film market, the American film market, and the Marché du Film at the Cannes Film Festival. These events provided Gard with the opportunity to engage with global industry players, secure funding for upcoming projects, and contribute to the growing reputation of European cinema on the world stage. He was known for his ability to navigate the complex financial landscapes of international co-productions, often pulling together intricate deals that allowed European filmmakers to realize their creative visions. Gard's work was critical to maintaining the delicate balance between artistic ambition and commercial viability, which allowed filmmakers like von Trier and Vinterberg to push the boundaries of storytelling while ensuring that their films were properly funded. Peter Gard is survived by his wife, Nana, and their 2 children, Trine and Thu. Though he was a behind-the-scenes figure, his work in the film industry has left an indelible mark on the European film landscape. His contributions to the success of Zentropa Studios and his role in the creation of some of the most influential European films of the past few decades will be remembered by filmmakers, financiers, and audiences alike. As a key player in the rise of Zentropa and a trusted collaborator of renowned directors like Lars von Trier and Thomas Vinterberg, Peter Gard's legacy lives on in the films he helped bring to life. His skill in navigating the world of film financing and his unwavering support for visionary filmmakers have cemented his place as one of the most important figures in European cinema. Randy Sparks, Grammy-winning founder of the New Christy Minstrels, dies at 90. Randy Sparks, the legendary founder of the New Christy Minstrels and a key figure in the folk music revival of the early 1960s, passed away on February 11th at the age of 90. He died at an assisted living facility in San Diego, California. His death was confirmed by his son, Kevin Sparks, in a statement to the New York Times. Up until just days before his passing, Sparks had been living on his 168-acre ranch in Jenny Lind, California. Over the course of his career, the New Christy Minstrels became one of the most prominent acts of the folk music movement. In the early 1960s, their presence on television and their prolific album sales helped define the era's musical landscape. Within their first 3 years, the group sold an estimated 2 million records, establishing themselves as one of the most commercially successful folk groups of the time. Their debut album, presenting the New Christy Minstrels, won a Grammy Award for Best Performance by a Chorus and remained on the Billboard album charts for 2 consecutive years. The group's second album, Ramblin', 1963, became one of their biggest successes, reaching the top 15 and earning the group their only gold disc. In addition, their Christmas album, Merry Christmas, was also well received, adding to their strong presence in the industry. Another milestone came in 1964 when their single Today hit the top 10 on the Billboard charts, becoming the Minstrels' lone top 10 hit. It was featured in the film Advance to the Rear. Over the course of their career, the New Christy Minstrels produced several hits, including Green, Green, and Saturday Night, and had 3 songs that charted in the top 40. Throughout the 1960s, the New Christy Minstrels appeared regularly on television, including 26 episodes of The Andy Williams Show on NBC and 8 appearances on ABC's Hootenanny. In 1964, the group also enjoyed the honor of having their own NBC show, Ford Presents the New Christy Minstrels, and performed at the White House that same year. Beyond his work with the New Christy Minstrels, Sparks was also known for nurturing young talent. He founded a farm group called the Back Porch Majority, which featured up-and-coming artists such as Steve Martin, John Denver, Kenny Rogers, Kim Carnes, Gene Clark of the Byrds, and Barry McGuire, who would later find fame with the hit Eve of Destruction. In addition to his work with the Minstrels, Sparks also opened a nightclub in Los Angeles called Ledbetter's, further cementing his role in the entertainment scene. In the mid-1960s, Sparks sold his stake in the New Christy Minstrels for $2.5 million and relocated to Northern California. There, he began a long and fruitful partnership with iconic singer and actor Burl Ives. The two collaborated on songwriting and performances, with Sparks often serving as Ives's opening act. This partnership continued for over 3 decades, further solidifying Sparks's influence in the folk and country music genres. Sparks's family includes his sons Kevin and Cameron, daughters Melinda and Amanda, his sister Naomi Allen, and 4 grandchildren. His contributions to the world of music and his legacy as a pioneering force in the folk music scene will not be forgotten. Mojo Nixon, musician, actor, and DJ, dies at 66 on Outlaw Country Cruise. Mojo Nixon, the musician, actor, and radio DJ best known for his rebellious and often humorous songs like Don Henley Must Die, Elvis is Everywhere, and Stuffin' Martha's Muffin, passed away today at the age of 66 from what was described as a cardiac event. His family confirmed the news to Rolling Stone. Nixon was on board the Outlaw Country Cruise, an annual music event where he was a co-host and frequent performer. His family shared the following statement with Rolling Stone. August 2nd, 1957, February 7th, 2024. Mojo Nixon, how you live is how you should die. Mojo Nixon lived life wide open, rock hard, and on fire, passing after a blazing show, closing the bar, taking no prisoners, and sharing a good breakfast with bandmates and friends. A cardiac event on the Outlaw Country Cruise is about right, and that's how Mojo did it. He's left the building. Since Elvis is everywhere, we know he was waiting for Mojo in the alley out back. Heaven help us all. In 1987, Nixon and his musical partner, Skid Roper, achieved success with their quirky hit, Elvis is Everywhere. The song's low-budget music video became a staple on MTV. Nixon and Roper went on to release 6 albums together during the 1980s, 2 of which, Baudet Shoes, 1987, and Root Hog or Die, 1989, made their way onto the Billboard 200 chart. Nixon later embarked on a solo career and became a fixture in the music world as well as a popular radio personality. He gained a loyal following on Sirius XM's Outlaw Country channel in the mid-2000s with his show, The Loon in the Afternoon, Born Neil Kirby McMillan Jr. on August 2, 1957, in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, Nixon grew up in Danville, Virginia. After finishing college in the late 1970s, Nixon moved to London to experience the punk scene before returning to the U.S., where he spent time in Denver and eventually San Diego, where his career began to take off. In 1983, Nixon teamed up with Skid Roper, and they released their debut album in 1985. The duo toured extensively, gaining a reputation with tracks like Jesus at McDonald's, I Hate Banks, and Stuffin' Martha's Muffin, a playful song about MTV VJ Martha Quinn. Their breakthrough came with Elvis Is Everywhere, which led to Nixon making promotional appearances on MTV, including spots for the channel itself. They also appeared on The Arsenio Hall Show and, in a memorable moment, enlisted Winona Ryder to star in the video for Debbie Gibson is Pregnant with My Two-Headed Love Child, though MTV refused to air it. After parting ways with Roper, Nixon collaborated with various musicians, including country Dick Montana and John Doe of X. His album Otis, 1994, featuring the controversial anthem Don Henley Must Die, made a splash on the modern rock charts, reaching number 120. Henley himself took the song in stride and even performed it with Nixon in 1992. Nixon also had a successful acting career, beginning with a role as drummer James Van Eaton in the 1989 biopic Great Balls of Fire. He later appeared in the 1993 Super Mario Bros. Film and the comedy Car 54, Where Are You? In addition to his acting work, Nixon became a popular radio DJ in Cincinnati and San Diego before joining XM Satellite Radio in the early 2000s. In 2009, Nixon released Whiskey Rebellion, an album of previously unreleased tracks. A documentary about his life, The Mojo Manifesto, The Life and Times of Mojo Nixon, premiered at SXSW in 2022 and had a wider release the following year. At the time of his passing, no details on survivors were immediately available. Hank Bradford, head writer for Johnny Carson's The Tonight Show, dies at 88. Hank Bradford, the esteemed head writer for The Tonight Show, starring Johnny Carson, and The Late Show, starring Joan Rivers, passed away on January 18th in Los Angeles at the age of 88. His family confirmed that he died from congestive heart failure. Bradford's career spanned decades, and he became a defining figure in late-night television. From 1970 to 1975, he served as the head writer for The Tonight Show, where he was instrumental in shaping the show's witty and often unpredictable sense of humor. As head writer for The Tonight Show, Hank was both admired and beloved by his fellow writers. His family said in a statement, "He brought a pitch-perfect sense of humor and a remarkably calm, steady leadership style to a role in an environment that was often chaotic and eccentric." Above his desk at The Tonight Show, there was a sign that read, "It left here funny," a mantra that perfectly summed up Hank's approach to his work. Bradford's ability to maintain a level of sanity and structure while overseeing the rapid-fire writing demands of a late-night show was widely recognized by his colleagues. His leadership and the sharp wit he brought to The Tonight Show made him a beloved figure behind the scenes. After his time with Carson, Bradford went on to serve as the head writer for The Late Show starring Joan Rivers from 1986 to 1987, continuing his legacy of shaping memorable late-night television moments. In addition to his work on late-night talk shows, Bradford wrote for a variety of other notable television programs. He contributed to episodes of iconic shows like MASH and Three's Company, further showcasing his versatility and comedic talent. Before transitioning to a writing career, Bradford had a successful early career as a comedian. He performed at nightclubs and even opened shows for major musical acts, including Simon and Garfunkel and The Temptations. His experience as a performer informed his writing, allowing him to craft jokes and material that resonated with both the public and his fellow writers. Bradford's time on stage as a comedian helped shape his understanding of timing, humor, and the art of making people laugh, skills that would serve him well in the world of television writing. Bradford's family remembers him not only for his remarkable career, but also for his love of life, his sharp wit, and his deep affection for his family. He is survived by his wife, Patricia Bradford, daughters Stephanie Brenowitz and Sally Bradford McKenna, sons Matt Bohm and William McLaughlin, and 5 grandchildren. Throughout his career, Bradford's writing was integral to the success of The Tonight Show and other projects he contributed to, earning him a respected place in the world of television. His legacy is preserved in the many moments of humor, joy, and laughter that he helped create over the years. Hank Bradford will be remembered for his wit, his leadership, and the indelible impact he had on the world of comedy and television.